Oh my god, it's running upstream. Oh my god, hit it like a freight train. Oh my god, that's right where my bobber went down before. Oh my god, oh look at that. Oh, it just went airborne. And we're back. Another year on the river. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite places to fish, and for one of the most, the fish species that I most like to target, which is steelhead. And this video is going to be my entire season fishing on this river. I don't know how many days it'll entail. It really kind of depends on the weather, how many days we're allowed to fish on it, and I guess just how the fishing goes. Today's my first day. As you can see, the river's flowing right behind me. I got my rods behind the camera, and I'm about ready to take my first cast here. Nothing in the first hole, but there's a lot of holes and a lot of water to cover. So let's move on to the next one. Funny, so I used to cross the river upstream a little bit, but now it's like all overgrown. You can see all these like bushes and everything up there. And so it's hard to get to the river, so we're gonna have to cross right here. Funny how the river is always a little bit different each year. I always wondered if the fish can tell that too. You know what? Let's just make a cast in here. It's a little shallow, but we've got our rod in hand. I always wonder if the fish notice the difference in the river, because they come back to the same place, where they grew up and were born and everything. And so I always wonder if they like, oh, that log wasn't there when I came here, or when I was here, 3 years ago or whatever. And you can see the water clarity that we're dealing with today. It's not super clear, but also plenty clear for us to catch fish. It's not green, it's like almost brownish, but like clear brown, if that makes any sense. Well, first off, I'm not a mushroom expert. Those are pretty cool mushrooms, so I have no idea if they're edible or not, but if you were a mushroom expert / steelhead fisherman, I feel like those two things would go hand in hand, because there's a lot of hiking along the river bank where everything's kind of damp and perfect environment for mushrooms just like those. But more importantly, I don't think you'll be able to see it because it's too far out there, but right at the tip of my rod, right out there, is a fish. First fish I've seen on the river. However, this is not a steelhead, this is actually a salmon. I'm able to tell that because I can already tell just from seeing it from here, it's super beat up. You can see the tail is like really in there. Oh, you might be able to see that. That's that salmon fanning the red right there where it's gonna lay its eggs. And we don't want to catch that fish. We don't want to mess around with it, just let it do its thing. But what I do know is that sometimes when there's a salmon like that laying eggs, a steelhead will sit right below that, kind of picking up the loose eggs that come drifting down the river. So maybe there'll be a steelhead downstream from this. So we're gonna try not only this little riffle right here, but the next hole down below that, fish this little stretch somewhat thoroughly, just on the off chance there's a steelhead sitting down there waiting for some loose eggs, doing its thing. I think it's about to fan. Yep, there it goes. Always cool to see some life in the river. Although we're super early for steelhead, oh, there's a male. There's 2 of them in there now. Anyway, super cool to see the life in the river, even if it's not our target species. Still fun to see. Not a full-grown steelhead, but it's a future steelhead. Came really quick. That's the one you want to catch in about 3 years when it's about this big. And also in my experience, when there's those kind of fish in the hole, good chance that there's no big ones in there because steelhead are very territorial. So if there's, you know, a big spawning male or even just any fish that's not spawning, it's just going up the river, they want to get all those little other fish out of the way. So they'll chase all these little ones out. So I think we'll keep moving. I mean, this little run right here looks great. I definitely think fish could be holding here at some point this season. So we might come back here. But for now, I think there's just those little smolts in here. I did get one good bite, but I don't know. Could have been a log, could have been anything. Well, that was a decent fish, a little bit bigger. Not quite, you know, not a full adult steelhead, but definitely, you know, definitely a steelhead nonetheless. Dang, came off though. This drift right here is super slow and I had a couple of bites down there, but there's no real good way to fish it. If I was fishing effectively, it'd be nice if I could get farther downstream to work my bait through there, but from here it's not a great angle. And unfortunately, he was able to spit that hook. But let's get another bait. Maybe there'll be another one in there. That's what I was talking about. That's like one of those fish that's hanging out right below the salmon, just scooping up all those salmon eggs that are getting dropped into the river. Ah, he's not coming back. All right, we got to move on. Well, day one in the books, it was a good day out here. We didn't catch any steelhead, but it's still really early in the season. It's still December, and I really feel like January is really when those fish start coming up the rivers in bigger numbers. But we did see some salmon spawning. I think I saw at least 2 or 3 in that little pool. There's probably more that I didn't see. And I did hook one smaller end steelhead. Sorry, camera died. But anyway, to wrap up day one, we saw some life on the river. Didn't get that big steelhead, but you know, it's just the beginning. We got to see the river, see what it looks like, and we have hopes and dreams for the rest of the season. And like I was saying, this is really early season, so I think I'm gonna give it a couple weeks, at least one more rain for this river to really flood out and hopefully bring some more fresh fish in, some real big ones, because hopefully the next one that bites my hook is gonna be a big one, and hopefully we don't have that one spit the hook. So I'd rather have that little one spit the hook today and then land the big one later on in the season. Cross our fingers that that's going to happen. We're going to put in the time, but we got to wait a little bit. Steelhead's all a waiting game. It's wait, and then when the conditions are right, boom, you got to be there and be ready for that big one. Day number 2 out here. As you can tell, it's wet and rainy today, but the water clarity is actually surprisingly not bad. I thought it was going to be like a little bit more muddy, but it's actually more kind of like a dark green. It's not clear, obviously, because of this rain. It's going to be bringing mud through the river, but I think it's clear enough to where we could catch a fish in here. And it's still December, so it's pretty early. It's about a week and a half after my last trip out here. But there was a few fish. I know I moved one, you know, smaller steelhead last time I was out here, so there's got to be some fish in the system. Plus with this additional rain, and we also had one more rain before this, there should be even more and more fish moving through. No fish on the first few runs through there, but I was a little conflicted today on which section of the river to fish. I always hear like classic steelhead theme is like, if the river's high, go high in the river system, which is what we have today. But then also it's super early in the season, so I was thinking there might be not that much fish up higher just because they haven't got there yet. So I didn't really know what the best course of action was, but we're gonna just fish higher. Last time we fished lower. We'll try to explore a little bit more of the river today. I just was hiking along the river and I saw this thing look kind of funny in the water. Check out what it is. Oh, there it goes. I did not think it was going to see me. I really didn't think it was going to see me with how muddy the water is, but you know, obviously it did. That was a big old salmon. Old salmon. I'm sure it's already spawned out. I'm sure it's surprised it was even able to swim off as fast as it did. Continuing along the journey, we've probably hit 7 or 8 holes. Pretty much no action, just some little taps, like little trout here and there, but no real takedowns. And the water has got significantly muddier. When I first started, I think it was like actually pretty good, but it rained really hard for like 2 or 3 hours. Well, the first 2 or 3 hours I was fishing, and it's kind of let up now. It's like barely, almost like a heavy mist, but all that water that dropped in the last couple hours is now coming through, and it's, yeah, you can tell it's pretty dark. I'd say visibility is, I don't know, 6 inches at best. At this point it's probably tough to get a bite, but I'm already out here, so I'm gonna hit one more hole. I know there's one more deep spot right up ahead here, and that'll be our last one before we call it a day. Well, today was a bust. But like I always say, no bad days on the water. We learned a little bit about the river, and you can't beat having lunch with this scenery and this background here. So unfortunately, day 2, another swing and a miss. Hopefully we can get them on day 3. Alright, that's a little bit more clear. Well, what a difference a day makes. Well, in reality, it hasn't been one day. It's been about a week and a half since I last came out, and it hasn't rained since that day. And what that has done is made the water super low and super clear. And one thing I love about steelhead fishing is you can't go out and do the same thing every single day and expect to catch fish every single day. You really have to adapt to what the conditions are. And that's exactly what we're doing today. Right now I'm just retying my leaders. And last time I had a lot heavier setups. The water was flowing a lot faster and the water was a lot less clear, a lot more muddy. So being super finesse wasn't as big of a priority. But now, because it's so heavy, or so clear I should say, now we're gonna go much more finesse, much lighter, smaller setups, more natural, and I really think today that this is going to be the key, which is a fixed float. I really like the fixed float for smaller creeks, much more finesse type setups, which is exactly what we had today. And it's now January. It's still a little early, but there's definitely fish in the system. We just got to figure out where they are, and not just that, we got to figure out how to get them to bite, because with the water as clear as it is today, that is going to be a little bit more challenging. With all that being said, let's get day 3 underway. Hopefully 3rd time's the charm. There we go. Not a big one, but it's a fish. A little bit bigger than the smolts. Right behind that rock. Look at that fish though, that's a really nice, basically a trout at this point, but future steelhead. That one's headed out to the ocean to go do her thing or his thing. I think that's a male. Probably do his thing. All right, we'll send him off. Here he goes. Another fish. About the same size, I think, as the last one. Shoot, it even looks like the same fish. Is that the same fish? I don't know. That very well could be the same fish right there. That one might be a little bit bigger. Kind of hard to tell. Oh my god, is this the same fish again? Well, I don't know if this is the same fish hitting 3 times, or maybe there's just a lot of these in there. Let's see. I don't know, man. That looks very similar to the last one we caught. Well, I don't know. You'll have to let me know if it looks the same or not. I think it looks pretty similar. Might be the same fish 3 times in a row there. At least we know our catch and release strategies are going well. Well, I don't know if that was the same fish 3 times or not, but it looked pretty similar, and if it is, that's a pretty aggressive steelhead right there. I will not be going back up the same way. That's for sure. Alright, we're back. Made a wrong turn somewhere in there. Well, we gave it a try. Man, I walked farther today, I think, than I've ever walked on this river ever. And one of the reasons is because it's so low and so clear. And it was just like boom, boom, cast here, cast there. And if I don't get bit in the first couple of casts, then it's like there's no fish in there, because, you know, most of the river, I don't know if you can see on the GoPro, but most of the river I can see clear across all the way to the other side, all the way to the bottom. So a lot of places I could just do a visual check, boom, no fish. All right, keep moving. And yeah, covered a lot of water, walked a lot of miles, and unfortunately never found a fish. It's still a little early, although it is January now, so I always feel like once that new year hits, man, it's steelhead time. Those fish are coming up the rivers. But I don't know, either they're not in here yet, or I just didn't find them today. For now, I'm just gonna have to wave the white flag and call it a day. Man, I really thought I was gonna get one today, but just how it goes. All right, another day on the river. I think this is day 4, and as you can see behind me, this water is super clear and super low. Honestly, I almost didn't come today, but I was thinking this is like the lowest it can be before they close it. So it could close any day now until we get another rain. So I had to come out, you know, because you never know. We don't have any rain in the forecast. Who knows? This could be my last day on the river. Really, when the water is like this, I really feel like everything has to be perfect. You gotta make the perfect cast with the perfect presentation and just get lucky. Hope that the fish decides it's hungry, because a lot of times that bait is gonna drift by a fish and it's gonna just know the water's too clear and too low for that fish to take any chances. It doesn't want to go too far to go eat that bait, because it puts its own life in danger. You know, birds, bears, raccoon, anything that eats a fish. When it's clear like this, not only can the fish see everything, but the predators can also see all the fish, like us. So they really are on a low risk mentality right now, and because of that, they're not going to eat very much. Oh dude, it's dialed. Well, another skunk. Day 4 wasn't meant to be. We need a little bit more rain. Even just a sprinkle, just enough to get some color on the water and hopefully get some more fish moving up into the system. I think right now there aren't any fish in here. And as you can see, bright sunny skies. Not going to be any rain for a little while, but we do get some. Better believe we'll be back out here. All right, we'll see you when that day comes. All right, we're back. It's been, I don't even know, 3 weeks, maybe a full month. I'm not really sure. I don't remember exactly when the last time we came out was, but we finally got some rain. I was actually up in Tahoe doing some snowboarding, and we got some snow when I was up there, but down here, lower elevations, there's definitely some rain, and quite a bit of it. River got blown out, and it's coming back down now. Honestly, today I don't know if it's going to be fishable. It might be too muddy, but obviously we had to come out and check it out. I can already hear the river raging down there. It's a little bit higher than I typically fish, but it's all going to depend on the clarity. If the clarity's good, then we can catch fish. If it's not good, then we might have to just come back another day. But anyway, we'll head down there, see what it looks like.
Well, because the water is a little bit higher today, spending a little bit more time fishing each hole. I make sure to adjust my bobber laying, fish a couple presentations through each spot, and really there's just more fishable water, more water where those steelhead can hide out. I'd say whereas before I probably spend 5 to 10 minutes in each spot, now I'm probably spending 20 to 30 minutes in each spot, really making sure that I make sure there's no fish in there before I move on.
As far as clarity goes, it's not terrible. Probably not ideal. I would say it's probably, maybe 2 feet of visibility. I think if it was like 3 or 4, it'd probably be a little bit better, but definitely fishable. Fish could definitely find my bait in this kind of water. But you can see also where the water was. I mean, when people last came, this is probably from yesterday, all these footsteps, and the water was up to here, and now it's down to here, because I'm probably the first one here this morning, so no one's walked in this little stretch. You can see how far it's receded just in one night. Oh, got my heart racing for a second there. Thought this might be the one, but just a little smolt here. Always good to see these in the river though. Good to have fish that are coming back. So this is a fish that hasn't even made its way to the ocean yet. Popped it off real quick, which is a good sign. There's fish in the system, and if that fish can find my bait, then definitely a big one can. There's a bobber down there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not really sure exactly how that got there, but let's see if I can get it. Not only to clean up the river a little bit, but take an extra float in my box. How does this happen? Okay, we got it. That's what happened. Alright, we're gonna break this off now. Alright, we got a float. A couple of split shots. I don't know if we can we might be able to reuse those. A swivel. We'll probably reuse that. Looks like a nice swivel. Soft bead. And then a hook. We won't be able to reuse this hook, but almost everything else we can repurpose there. And not only that, we get it out of the river, which is always a plus. I don't know how that got there. Did our good deed for the day. Sometimes that's all you need to get a little bit of luck on your side. Look at all this line. Cleaned up about 20 yards of line now we're at it. I don't know how that happened. That looked like a fish. That was a strong bobber down right there. Right there. 3, 2, 1. Boom, right there. Oh, little tick. That was very suspicious. Not sure if that was a fish or not, but man, did it go down pretty good. 3, 2, 1. Kablam! Right there. Didn't even touch bottom that time. I don't know. That looked like a fish to me. Going. Oh yeah, it's still on there. Oh my god, it's running upstream on the plug. Oh my god, hit it like a freight train. Oh my god, that's right where my bobber went down before. And I said, oh, that looked like a bite. I picked up the plug. Man, I've been working this whole hole. I actually gave it a little bit of a rest. Oh my god, oh look at that. Oh, he just went airborne. I don't think it's on the GoPro, but he just went airborne. Let me tighten this a touch. Oh no! That's what we've been looking for. Oh my god, he's thrashing on the plug. We gotta get to the bank here. Get to the bank. That's what we've been looking for. Oh my god, he hit the plug. Holy moly, he just destroyed that plug and he went wild. There's a huge boulder right here. Okay. Don't want him to rub on a boulder. Oh, look at him go. Look at him go. Holy moly. I think he's a pretty good sized fish. Oh, look at him. Oh, look at him. Holy moly, that is a really nice one. Oh my god. It is big. Big fish in a little river. Dude, when he hit it, he went wild. I couldn't even catch up to him. I was reeling as fast as I could, and man, man, that guy was shooting way upstream. Look at him now. Look at that fish. Got some color to it. He's been in the river for a little while, but holy man, this guy had a lot of energy. look at that. Holy moly. Okay. Okay. I think I got him pretty good. It looks like that hook's in a good spot. Got that nice big Siwash replacement hook on this plug. But you never know, barbless hook, anything could happen. Holy moly, that's a big fish. That is a really big fish. A true wild steely. So we're gonna take the best care we can of this fish, but I also want to give you guys back home a good look at him. So I'm gonna try to get him in shallow here and get out my bigger camera, get some nice photos of him. All right, I'm gonna bring her in shallow here, but this is a wild fish, so always want to keep these fish in the water, keep them wet. And I'll give you one really quick shot at her. Got all the cameras set up here so I can do it super quick. We really want to keep these fish wet, keep them in the water. You know, if possible, it's best to just keep in the water the whole time. But yeah, obviously I want to give you guys one quick look at her. But holy moly, that's an awesome fish. That right there is definitely the longest steelhead I've ever caught. As you can tell, it's a little bit skinny, and that's because it's all spawned out. That fish has already laid all of her eggs, and she's kind of making her way back down to the ocean because these fish, they do it all again every year. But yeah, look at that fish. It's got that really nice dorsal fin. All the wild fish, or at least most of them, have a really nice dorsal fin. They don't have any of that pond rub that some of the hatchery fish get. A little bit of a scar on her tail, could be from a sea lion or a bird or something, maybe another steelhead. And it's got that adipose fin, that's how you know it's a wild fish. But man, what a fish. I'll get an official measurement later, but I'm guessing she's 32, 33 inches, something like that. Just so amazing to see these fish in the river. And see how wide she is down the back. Kind of got interesting colors on her. She's kind of like pale on the head and tail, and then in the middle she's got that dark patch. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but yeah, as you can see, we're just keeping her in the water, making sure she stays nice and healthy. When we do release her, she's gonna swim off nice and strong, man. Holy moly, look at that fish. That is why we come out here, right there. Grinding all those hours. I'll pop this plug out. She'll be on her way just in a second. Look at that, come right out. Barbless hook. All the way from head to tail, just pure, wild, native power. All right, I'm gonna let her go here. She's ready to go. Here she goes. Look at that, off with a kick. We did it. We did it. Oh man, I know I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. That is why we come out here. All those hours on the river, so many casts. That all made it worth it right there. I don't even know how many days that is. This is the 4th day, 5th day, I don't even know, but it's super worth it. I'm gonna show you the spot that I got him in, or her in. I'm pretty sure it hit the bobber setup first. The first time through with my bobber, I got a very, very suspicious bobber down. Casted it through there, I don't know how many more times, a lot, at least 20. I never got another bite, so that fish probably got turned off from that first drift through there. But then I came in with the plug, and honestly it didn't hit the first time through with the plug. It took a few casts, you know, swinging it through. If you watch some of my previous videos earlier in the season, I'm not going to say I invented it because I'm sure people have done it already, but it's something that I kind of just thought of when I was out here on the river one day, and I was like, I'm going to try that. It worked for me on another river, another day, and I just happened to have it tied on today. Obviously got the job done for us today as well. There's one big boulder there, a little tree hanging over, but right in that little like pocket, there's like a little I don't know what you call it, but right in the middle of the river right there. Swung that plug in there, and whammo. That fish nailed it. And when he hit it, obviously I felt the bite, and once the hook got stuck in him, I was trying my hardest to reel, and I couldn't even catch up to the fish. I could see my line just like shooting up river, and by the time I caught up to him, he was already like up in this section. It went airborne a couple times. Unfortunately, I don't think the GoPro caught it, but yeah, man, what a wild fight. That fish took me for a ride. Man, I can't say it enough. That makes it all worth it right there. I guess I gotta cast the plug in here a few more times, see if there's another one. All I gotta say is that was epic. Super, super epic. Such a privilege to get to see fish like that in this river. Glad I get to share it with all of you. Well, I know it's been a long time coming. I have no idea how long into the video we are now, but yeah, it's been a long time coming for me too. Hours and hours out here. But I appreciate all of you for sticking around. Hopefully that fish made it worth it. And who knows, maybe we'll find us another one in here. And like I was saying earlier, using something that's a little bit flashy, maybe makes a little noise. These plugs that I have right here, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a rattle in there. And it's got that orange stripe down the center. So it's a little bit flashier, a little bit louder than your normal bait that you probably would use. And whatever it is, that fish couldn't stop, couldn't resist. And yeah, rest is history. This is the plug right here. I got him kind of simple, just chrome, that orange stripe down the middle. I also replaced the stock hooks and put this big Siwash, I think that's a 1.0 mustad Siwash hook with this little swivel, so that when that fish is rolling, I mean that fish went crazy out there when I first hooked him. That hook it can swivel freely. It's not able to work that hook against itself. If it was pinned in and that fish turns, it can use that leverage to sometimes unhook themselves. But with that swivel on there, it just swivels freely. With every roll that fish does, that hook also does a roll, so there's no leverage there. And yeah, might have paid dividends there. I'm not saying it would have came off if I didn't have that, but it definitely decreased the chances of it coming off. And then all I'm doing with this, I did a little video on it before where I talked about it, was just casting it out. Sometimes I'll let out a little bit more line and then just let that current do the magic. Once it gets in the current there, you can see it start to wobble. Sometimes I'll reel a little bit if the current's a little bit too slow. Just enough to get that lure some action. Once it starts wobbling, then you know you're in business. And the hardest part with this, for me especially, is when you do get a bite, it's best not to set the hook. When you set the hook, a lot of times you're just pulling that hook out of the mouth because you're working that lure downstream. That fish is comes up to eat it. If you set the hook, a lot of times that hook is just going to pull right out of the fish. But what's better is just to let it there and let that fish turn. Once that fish bites it and turns, then that hook can get right in a good spot like that last one was, and then you have much less chance of it coming off. That's the hardest part for me, because normally once I feel that bite, boom, I want to just ram into them. But with this technique, you have to do your hardest to fight that urge. Oh, there was another one in there. That was a fish. That was a much smaller fish, but it was a steelhead. I didn't think that was a fish. I thought I was hung up on the bottom, so I didn't give it a good hook set. And I missed my opportunity. That's right in the same area from the last fish. Another thing I like to do, I'm not perfect at it, but especially when I catch a fish, I always make a point to get out one of my trash bags, pick up some trash. I always feel like I owe it to the river, especially when you catch a fish like that one. Do something to give back. So anyway, got some trash in here. We'll pick up more as we go along the way. But yeah, pick up your trash. Well, what a difference one fish can make. Holy smokes. That was an awesome day out here. I had one other opportunity on a much smaller fish. I would say that was probably like a 15, 16 inch fish that popped off. Probably the first year fish. So every time, or every year, fish goes out, comes back in, gets a little bit bigger, obviously. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that 16 to 18 inch fish is the first year of that fish coming back into the river. And I think the one that we caught, I want to say that might be the third or fourth year, but I don't really know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But anyways, I got to do a couple things. One, I got to go eat. I haven't eaten a bite of anything today, but I was really energized by that fish to persevere all the way into the afternoon here. But also, I have a hole in my wader somewhere on my left side. My left foot is soaked in water. So in conclusion, you know, we really only caught one fish, but that one fish makes today what a great success, man. That was an awesome battle. Got to see it, take a few pictures of it, and see it swim off nice and healthy. Can't ask for much more on these little coastal rivers, man. One fish makes a day. One fish makes a day. That's all you can say. But yeah, we're gonna go pack up, take care of some things, and then we'll get back out here and see if we can find us another one. Well, the season's coming to a close here. It's getting late, and I don't think there's many fish left in the river. Well, if there are, I couldn't find them. Fished a couple more days after that last fish. In total, I totaled 8 days out on the river, well over 60 hours spent casting my float and my jigs and my plugs and my cast mat, or my spoons, all up and down different holes. And we, in total, only told one real fish to hand at least. But regardless, it was an epic season. There were some really good days when the water looked great, but I didn't catch any fish. And then there was some not as great days when I did catch that fish. So kind of up and down for me, but regardless, it was fun to get out here. A little bit different style. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comment section, or if you want me to do something different, let me know. I'd love to do more videos like this in the future. But regardless of the fish catching, it's always fun to get out here in nature. No cell reception. Very few people. I got to fish with some friends. Got to take NC again out here. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him on a fish like we wanted to, but yeah, there's always next time. So thank you all for watching. True Wild number 2. We'll see you on the next one. Later.